Your Honor, that's the end of our presentation. We are open to any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. So we're going to go down.
Your Honor, if I may, in light of the presentations, I'd like to make a motion. The one I sent, I don't know if it's necessary for me to read the whole thing or just go through it, but I think in light of the presentations, it'd be appropriate to discuss the motion this time.
Go ahead, Mr. Pilarski.
Would you like me to read it in its entirety or
Yes.
just?
You can read your motion.
Okay. Whereas through a referendum vote in May of 2021, the voting citizens of Allegheny County approved a referendum which limited the Allegheny County Jail's ability to respond to exigent circumstances by limiting the jail's use of a restraint chair, leg shackles, and chemical agents such as pepper spray, embodied in Section 205 of the Allegheny County Administrative Code, effective December 6, 2021. And whereas the members of the Allegheny County Jail Oversight Board recognize that circumstances do arise at the jail which require inmates to be moved from one cell, pod, or section of the jail to another for purposes of health treatment, mental health treatment, court appearances, and other necessary attention. And whereas the members of the Jail Oversight Board recognize that while the vast majority of inmates are cooperative with requests for movement, circumstances do arise in which an inmate is non-cooperative despite all manners of de-escalation and verbal intervention. And whereas the restrictions presented by Section 205 require the jail to implement alternative methods of necessary inmate movement in certain rare circumstances to ensure the safety of inmates and jail personnel. And whereas the Jail Oversight Board has presented with a motion to prohibit Corrections Special Applications Unit, CSAU, training and equipment identified in such training programs at the jail. And whereas it is considered the opinion of members of the Jail Oversight Board that no decision should be made regarding the Jail Oversight Board oversight without said members reaching a fully informed opinion as to the scope and degree of the matters before the Jail Oversight Board. And whereas I'm sorry, I lost my place. And whereas the members of the Jail Oversight Board are aware that the depiction of events and presentation of issues found on the internet and through secondhand sources can often present an incomplete picture, if not a complete diversion from truth and actual events. And whereas the members of the Jail Oversight Board have been presented with depictions of events and presentations of issues related to CSAU training methods and practices, and whereas the members of the Jail Oversight Board have been presented with the information indicating that the CSAU training being conducted is consistent with Section 205, and presents an opportunity to maximize the use of de-escalation techniques and to minimize the use of force at the jail. And whereas the members of the Jail Oversight Board have been informed that the version of events proffered to the members of the Jail Oversight Board and the public does not accurately reflect the actual CSAU training being conducted at the jail. And whereas the members of the Jail Oversight Board consider it their obligation to determine the actual methods and scope of the training being conducted prior to attempting to prohibit such training. For those reasons set forth above, it is hereby determined the Allegheny County Jail Oversight Board shall forego any action regarding CSAU training at the jail until such time as each member of the Jail Oversight Board or any alternative members of the Jail Oversight Board designated by the Jail Oversight Board chair have had the opportunity to personally observe a significant portion of said training at the jail so as to obtain an informed opinion as to whether such training is in the best interest of jail inmates and personnel, is consistent with Section 205 and all other legal obligations, and otherwise serves in the best interest of the residents of Allegheny County.
All right, so we have a motion from Mr. Pilarski. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
All right.